Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And today we are here for our session today with Get It Right with Data Solutions. And we're going to be discussing about getting into entrepreneurship. If any of us has tried entrepreneurship, maybe went back to employment, or maybe just trying entrepreneurship, you know how it can be. In Kenya, we call it jua kali. Why do they call it jua kali? So for SMEs, when you're coming that, first of all, you have faced a lot of stigma. At the same time, entrepreneurship is the place that we create employment for other people. We believe in baking that bigger cake. And therefore, that's why it's very important that today we are starting with this particular topic on how to be entrepreneurs and how to bring this to life. So today, our guest speaker is none other, but the lady who has always hosted us for the webinar series for Data Solutions. And today we're going to talk about her experience with entrepreneurship, her lessons from other entrepreneurs in the market. And I can only assure you that it's going to be a lot of learning. And just to say that we are sponsored by Balcon Consulting. And maybe just before we start, I would just like to introduce Grace Zola. Maybe Grace, you can just wave a bit for people to know who Grace is. And I know most of us have seen her presenting on the series, or moderating, as we call her, the moderator of choice. So I don't know how long you've been in entrepreneurship and how it felt for you to get into entrepreneurship, and even the big decision of you just having to leave employment and get into entrepreneurship. So just a brief introduction. Grace.
Okay. Yes, Jane.
Would you like to introduce yourself, or should I do the justice?
Maybe you can, and then I will as well.
Okay, so for Grace, what I would say about you.
Yes.
So the first thing I would just say, Grace is the moderator of choice, because we have seen her moderating very many events. But in addition to that, Grace is a HR professional. She's the founder of the Get It Right with Data Solutions, which we have been seeing from last year, 2020. And just for your information, they turned a year this June. So we're going to be celebrating that sometimes later. So she's a HR professional, an entrepreneur, has worked for over 10 years in the field of HR, has been with Panessa Training School and many other organizations. So Grace, please, you can add up the icing that I've left out in your introduction.
All right.
And karibu sana.
Asante sana, Jane. So yes, I am Grace Nzula. I have been an employee. I have been an entrepreneur, and I have also volunteered in the world of business. So I think I was just thinking about it today, something that never really occurs to you. My parents used to run a shop when we were growing up. And because I hated going to the shamba, I always volunteered to open the shop in the morning. That means when you open the shop, you stay on for the day. So that means you're excused from going to the shamba. So I think that is how my entrepreneurship journey sort of started. Other than that, I'm a HR professional with a company called Data Solutions. I also am the host of Get It Right with Data Solutions, where it's a webinar series that we demystify issues in entrepreneurship and employment. We've done 26 episodes in season 1, and this is the 11th episode of season 2. So I guess we are getting it right as we go along. And I'm really, really happy to see everybody here. Yes, we have just the Get It Right with Atara Solutions, which is the webinar series, has turned 1 year. However, the Atara Solutions is 4 years old. So we've been doing the startup business for a while. And Jane, should I jump onto my presentation, or there's something else?
Okay. Please proceed. Just jump into the session.
Okay, sawa. So I wanted to share. Allow me to just share my screen, because I thought it would be just nice to have some basis and probably thought process. Just 1 second. Okay. So yeah, our focus today is on entrepreneurship, and I talked about Atara Solutions. We call ourselves a business growth agency, which specializes in training and capacity building, HR consulting, talent sourcing, performance management, and business strategies. We are a team that champions for organization on development through its people. So allow me to just introduce what entrepreneurship is, and not really what it is. I'm sure we've had quite a number of introductions. Every time we've hosted an entrepreneur giving their story, they have defined what that is. But just let me give you some background. In Kenya, 46% of the MSMEs, which is micro, small, medium enterprises, closed down within the year, an year of establishment, and up to 80% wind up before reaching 5 years. Imagine an organization that started in January of this year is actually, they're going to close down. 46% in Kenya will close down by the end of this year. Now, 80% will not see their 5th year anniversary. And this is very sad. And this is part of why we are actually having this session today, because we want to make sure that businesses are growing and growing sustainably. So majority of SMEs are in wholesale, 60% in wholesale. Retail trade is 12%, manufacturing is 9%, and accommodation and food services are 2%. And then 2% in agriculture. I'm sure this has changed because this was done by Kenya Bureau of Statistics in 2016. So I'm sure we need updated information. So just to start us off, I wanted to just give a brief on the stages of business, on how the business grows. Now we start off with a seed. The seed stage is when you get an idea. You know, the way you are employed and you're thinking, oh my God, I need to start a business. And this part is very, very crucial, because if you get it wrong at the seed level, then definitely you'll not have takeoff. You may go to survival, but for sure, you'll not be able to survive and thrive. So at the seed level is where you come up with the idea, you come up with the choice to start a business. And at the seed level, let me just give you a story of personal experience. I think in 2015, my friends and I decided to start a butchery, and we were selling meat. And I was very good at cooking. I'm still a good cook for pork. So we saw this club that has a butchery and has a hotel, and we decided, you know what, this is such a great opportunity for a business. And since all of us love meat, so we decided, you know what, a butchery will be the first start. And then we also decided, people come to drink here, so they must cool a meat. So we decided we take the butchery and then they have a hotel there, so we can combine both. My friend, you know why we started that business? The first thing we thought, because we love meat and we'd love to start a business, was enough to actually see us through. Number two, we also thought that the market is there. It was, to be honest, the business was very viable. What we did not consider was the fact that we did not have time to actually supervise the business. I remember the employee that we had for the butchery used to sell his own meat. And then we come in the evening and we find a whole 40 kgs of meat there waiting for us. So the seed level is really, really important, because you have to get it right. The choice of business, what it takes to run business, you know, like what in your business plan, have you put them how to survive, how to manage that business, and at the same time the funding as well. Here we had savings, so the three of us, we take out our savings and we decide, you know what, let's put everything here. What we don't know is that at that point we did not know that we needed a whole like money to survive a whole year without making a single cent. And here we are, we have poured all our savings into renovating, into getting stocks, into doing all sorts of things. Please note the market was there, because I remember on Saturdays and Sundays, I would cook pork. I never used to rest. Oh yeah, and by the way, at this point I was still employed. So imagine we used to come from the office, go to the butchery, check how the business was doing the whole day. The hotel, they'd cook chapatis and you find like 10 chapatis left. They cooked 10 and only sold 2. And you are like, oh my God, now what do you do? Because these are perishables. Then your family gets to eat that for dinner. And it went on until we realized, you know what, this is not for us. So unless you get it right at the seed level, this is where you decide what business are you going to start? Is there a market for it? What are the money that you require? How do you operate it? what are the resources that you need. So you need to actually get the seed right. Then you move to survival, and survival, we call it survive to thrive. And at this point, you actually need to break even. This is where the business now has grown and it's able to survive on its own without getting you going back into your pocket. So like, for example, if you're selling clothes, you're able to take a bill and you sell. After you've sold off, the money you're getting, you're getting the profit and also applying back the capital. And that means that you're breaking even. So you're really, really not going back into your pocket. And then you scale up. This is now where you're starting to take shape. You have invested in systems. Now it's no longer a trial. And then you move to expansion and maturity. And allow me, because today we are talking about startup, I won't really focus on the other stages, but just let me talk about the strategies at every stage. So we've done the seed part. So that one, it's up to you to put together what is necessary for you to survive. But now when we go to the survival stage, which is the introduction stage, your strategy here should be on traction. Your focus is on traction, like getting people to understand your business, getting people to your customers to believe in your business. And then the structure on this one you need is speed. You need to move very fast. And by the way, timing is everything when you're doing business. And then at the same time, what is driving you here is passion. You really, really need to be passionate about your business, because you need to tap into that, what do we call it? You need to tap into that positive energy where you derive passion from. And then at this point, you're doing a lot of experiments. You're testing the market, you're testing your marketing strategies, you're testing your business model, you're testing, basically here, it's about experimenting. What works, what doesn't work. If you're into manufacturing or production, which containers are selling better than the others, like our partners, Gapula Mintito and Akina JC, what containers will you use for your packaging for this type of hair product, or for this mambuyu, or for the other thing? So at this point, it's a lot of testing. And then you move to the growth stage. Here you have an existing market. You have established that there's a market for your business, and therefore now the strategy is for that particular market. And then this is where we call things like targeted marketing are coming in, and you're going to see it as we go along. And then the structure here is sales. You really, really need to sell and sell more. At this point, you need your cash to be flowing, because now you want to move from the capital to actually the business being sustainable by itself. And then we're moving to the talent required here is creativity. You need to be very creative. You need to know that there's competition. You need to know how to launch. You need to know how to take off. So a lot of creative mindset is required on this stage. And then you scale. At this point now, it is takeoff. You know, the way you're boarding a plane and then the pilot just starts taking off. Yes, this growth stage is now takeoff. At the expansion stage, it's you're getting new markets. Now it's no longer, it's what we call the blue ocean. It's no longer about testing. You already know the market is there. Now it's expanding. You are serving Nairobi people. Now you have gone regional. Kidogo, you've gone to do international. So that point is you're testing new markets. And then, so the structure here is service. You have to be able to serve, not compromising on quality, really, really focusing on service. And then collaboration. Here you need to tap into partnerships. You need to, when you're expanding, for example, if you want to open an office in Uganda, you probably need a Ugandan person to collaborate with you and stuff like that. And at this point, the process is to refine. You refine your product, you refine your market, you get a lot of feedback depending on how you're expanding and where you're heading to. And then on maturity stage, this is where you're launching new products and services. You're expanding basically. And then the structure here is you're very specialized. You already know what services you're good at, what your market has respected you for, and they'll come to you for these specific items. And then the talent required here is innovative. You need to be very, very innovative. You need to reinvent and invent, because now you have already taken off. Now the market knows you already, but what new are you bringing us? What is this thing that you can offer the market that is ever changing? Are you taking on technology? What is this product that you have introduced into the market? And then you adopt. So those are some of the strategies that you need at every stage of your business. So now today, the focus is on startup. We will not really dwell a lot into the takeoff, I mean, the expansion and the maturity. We already hosted Mr. Panessa, who took us through how he ran a business for 40 years. We hosted Engineer Mwangi, who actually took us through 20 years of running his business. We hosted Sarah Karingi, who took us how she's been able to survive her business as well. We also hosted JC, Shishi Naturals, and Mr. George, who told us how to know which business to start. So how to identify the need. Now, at this point, we are going to scale up. Which is our focus this evening, because remember, we are saying getting started. So what is a startup? A startup is a young company founded by one or more entrepreneurs to develop a unique product or service and bring it to the market. By its nature, the typical startup tends to be a shoestring operation. And this is where you get funding from yourself or your family, or you've figured an investor or a partner. So that is what a startup is. And I thought it would be very, very important before we go to how the startups are run and what will help you into succeeding, we look at the essential skills that you need to actually succeed as an entrepreneur. And the first thing you need is to be ambitious. You really, really need to be driven. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted. You will want to give up so many times, but your ambition needs to guide you, I mean, to take you further. You know, it's like to remind you why you started it in the first place. And then the other thing you need to do is the willingness to learn. You need to be willing to learn, because like we've discussed, the scaling point, I mean, right from the seed to the scale up stage, you have to learn. It's more of a learning place. When you're doing testing, when you're getting feedback, when you're looking at what fits into the market, it is more of learning. It's more of understanding how to position yourself. So willingness to learn is also very, very important. And then the ability to listen. You have to be a person who listens to the market. You see, you're not starting the business for yourself. You're starting a business to serve others. So your ability to listen will actually help you propel the business to higher levels. And then creativity. You know, we are in competition. If you look at, for example, HR professionals right now, at this point, actually, Jen is a HR consultant and I'm a HR consultant. What separates what I do and what Jen does is our own creativity. We are two different people. We are two different creatives, but we are also serving, we are offering the same services. So her creativity and my creativity actually help us probably segregate the businesses. All right. So you have to be creative, and then you have to be assertive and confident. And allow me to talk about confidence in the case of the imposter syndrome. Sometimes you start doubting yourself. You start wondering, am I really good at this? Or have I gotten here by myself? Or somebody has gotten me here? And like my mentor says, you work so hard, and then you say, it's not me, Aki, it is just God. I have no one else. No. I know God, of course, is there. He's helped you, propelled you into whatever heights you've gotten to. However, even your hard work has helped, because you can sit at home and say, God, come, you know, but you've gone out and really, really put in the work. So being assertive is also very, very important, because people will push your buttons. So you need to be assertive. You need to know when to say no. You need to know when to leave. And you need to be tough when doing it. And then perseverance. You have to have the willingness to move forward. You have to have the willingness to withstand the pain, the long hours. Oh my God, sometimes you work, you're in the business and you're in a meeting up to like what? And right now with working from home, it's even worse. Sometimes I sit and work up to 1 o'clock for like 2-3 days in a row. And then I have to wake up the next day and show up in the office as if I slept with everyone else at 10. So perseverance is very important. And then courage and risk-taking. You have to be courageous. You have to see opportunities and go for them. Whether you'll succeed or not, that's different. However, you need to take calculated risks. So you have to be courageous and you have to be a risk taker. So those are 7 essential skills that you need as an entrepreneur. There are many, but I thought we can just start with that. So let me just get into the struggles, because we really need to get to how we are going to address these struggles. Number one struggle that entrepreneurs or rather startups go through are resources. We have scarcity of resources, and like we said, you're investing into the unknown. It's sort of an uncertain area. You don't know whether you're going to succeed. You, of course, are hoping that you're going to succeed, but you are not sure that you're going to succeed. So resources is one of the biggest struggle that we have. And this is people, money, and systems. Money in terms of capital. Sometimes we don't have as much capital as we require. Sometimes we don't have the resources that we may need in terms of, you may need, for example, an accounting system, the state-of-the-art accounting system, and you can't afford it. So money in terms of capital, in terms of operational, to move from point A to B, the logistical part of it is also an issue. And then people, because at this point, you'll end up doing most of the things yourself. So unless you're really, really focused, and you have to put in quite longer hours. Sometimes you have to drive here to Mombasa and then come back probably the next day. You're as tired as they come, and you don't have a driver because you can't afford to pay one. So at this point, one of the struggles is resources, lack, or there being none. Okay. And then we have customers. I remember when we started these sessions and somebody asked, how do you get your first customer? So finding a customer that you want to serve is also a struggle. Sometimes you have to put yourself out there to be able to get clients. And we are going to see how to overcome the struggle. So finding a customer is also a struggle that startups go through. The other thing is retaining the customers. You serve a customer, first of all, finding them, they'll always tell you, for example, if you're doing supplies, we have a person who does it for us. And then, or a HR professional, for the case of HR practitioners, will tell you, why should I hire a recruiting firm? And we have one already. So it becomes a bit of a challenge getting somebody to actually believe in your dream. And we are going to see how we overcome that. The other thing is product pricing. Sometimes we are not too sure how to price whatever it is you're selling, and especially for people who are in service. For people who are selling a product specifically, it's really sometimes a bit easy because you can quantify the bottles you've used, you can quantify the volume of whatever it is you're putting in the bottle, you can quantify the hours you've spent doing that. Now, unfortunately, for people in the service industry, you can't quantify your brain that you have used, you cannot quantify the years you went to school to become the professional you are or the consultant you are at that point. So product pricing becomes a bit of a challenge. And then being able to price your products in a way that beats competition, because you'll be told, you're too expensive, we're not working with you. And you are a startup, so you really, really need these clients and you need them to come through. So product pricing is another problem that we face. And then unfair competition. And this one, allow me to tie it to corruption. So you have the best qualification for a job. However, you cannot be given because they prefer working with somebody else who is probably not even qualified. I remember the other day when we were at the HR Congress, somebody asking, the HR professionals are supposed to be registered with IHRM, yet most consultants are doing the job and they're not registered. And this I've had even engineers complaining about, architects have been complaining about. You're not a registered consultant, yet you're getting the job. So again, unfair competition. And then financial management. You remember you are the accountant in your organization. You quit your job. You have to balance between the money that you plow into the business and the money that you're using at home. So rent is due, and maybe you have one employee, salary is due, and then the money that was coming in is not even there. We also, under financial management, we also have issues of delayed payments. And all these things, you're supposed to figure out how to handle them. Oh my God, sometimes I think entrepreneurship is such a serious calling, and especially for startups. And then expectations. This one, the biggest struggle, and especially the people I've seen suffer from expectations, are the people who were employed in like big organizations. I remember the first time I used to be an HR, so of course I was running payroll. And then I meet a friend of mine who tells me, wow. You know, my salaries now are 500,000. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, what do you mean 500,000? That is such little money. We are used to running 6 million of payroll. Where that was until I got out and was wondering where to get 100,000 or 25,000 to pay my staff. Why? So these expectations are real for startups. The other thing is you leave your organization that had systems. You had an accounting system, you had processes that were well-defined and everything. And then you start your business and you're thinking, oh, this is the same thing. And then pop up. You are the systems. You are the one who decides which money goes where. You are the one who decides how this process is going to be. You are the one who has to sit again and do invoicing. You're the one to follow up on payments. You're the one, everything is on you. So expectations is also something else. And then there's expectations where you launch a product and you're thinking it's going to take off immediately. This is what we are doing, you know. I've thought about this, I've prayed about this. There's no way I'm failing in this business. Why ask me what happened to my pork business? Anyway, and then marketing is also another struggle because of a startup is actually you're testing the market. So sometimes you throw out yourself out there, it's a deep end and you have to swim out. You're not really, you're not very sure about what happens, where, at what point. So marketing is also another struggle that we go through. And then cybersecurity, I put this one here for those people, for those of you who want to start or are running business online, because we have all these hackers who are online. We have all these people who are hacking your Facebook accounts and asking people to send them money, or they're posting some obscene videos, and you're over there trying to run a business. So cybersecurity is another struggle, and especially for people who are doing online business. And then compliance is another issue. Now we are being told, and we run how to register your business legally, or the legal requirements of starting a business. You can check it out on YouTube. I think it was the first episode. And then now you're supposed to comply, pay KRA, you're supposed to pay NSSF, you're supposed to pay NHIF, you're supposed to pay registration. For example, for the HR practitioners, we are required to register with IHRM as consulting firms for you to offer HR services. And then you're supposed to, for us in training, we are supposed to be registered with NITA. All this money, you don't have the resources to actually do that. I know I've had this question 1,000,001 times. We are supposed to be registered and we are supposed to have an office. NITA comes for inspection, IHRM will come for an inspection, and then you don't even have an office. You're operating probably from your home, or your business is, you're sharing an office, I don't know with who. Okay, most likely it's just briefcase. It's you and your laptop, finish. So compliance is also another struggle that startups go through. And then work-life harmony. You spend a lot of time doing work, and sometimes you forget, you're not able to balance between family, you're not able to balance between having a social life, and you're not able to balance between running the business. I know personally, this has really affected my social life to a point where my friends, I keep saying, we are hooking up, yes, next Saturday, please. We cannot do next Saturday, just let Nzula pick the date, because sometimes it becomes hard because I may not be available. And you see, the business actually requires you, and you also need this social life. So knowing when to say no, and having a balance between your friends, your family, and the business actually takes time. And I know I should share with you guys, Joram Winamo and the wife did a survey the other day on the effects of entrepreneurship on marriage. Some very, very interesting findings. And then self-doubt. This is, you go and do a pitch to a client, you're hoping to bag the deal, and then they're not coming through once, twice, thrice, and then you start wondering, am I doing the right thing? Was I cut out for this? Or you've done so much and then still, what you thought, for example, you had targeted 3 months, you'll be breaking even. By 3 months, you are in deeper debt than you even started with. And you start wondering, was I cut out for entrepreneurship? Can I clean up my CV? By the way, I cleaned up my CV severally. Whoa, igaifafa. Yes, so those are some of the struggles that we go through as entrepreneurs, and I'm sure the questions I'll take the questions after the presentation. So for me, how I failed in the pork business, I think resources was one of the biggest problem. Product pricing, no. Unfair competition, yes, because my staff used to sell the nyama. Financial management, one of the partners was a finance person, so that wasn't a problem. Expectations, obviously, because we thought we were going to hit the ground running, and then you realize, well, for ground we need different. Marketing, we were very good at marketing. Cyber security, we never went through that. Compliance was another issue because of the requirements. For example, when we were told that we needed a fire extinguisher in the butchery and one in the kitchen, we also needed the staff working there to have medical certificates that is renewed, I think, every 3 months. Then you also have to be registered with a trade license, which is displayed there. So many compliance issues that came about. Of course, that one used capital to name. And obviously work-life harmony. I told you this was a side hustle. So you get from the office on a Friday evening every day. We even started doing shifts. So you go because we need to balance. But now the unfortunate thing was that I had clients who are so consistent with the pork. Every Saturday, we were being given orders for like 10 kgs of pork cooked for somebody who has a party. And that time you have like 3 parties you're catering for. It was crazy because you couldn't even afford to hire employees because you're trying to now get capital back to buy the items you need to do your job better. So how do you survive now a startup? Number one, the one thing that you will need is a solid business plan. You need to come up with a solid business plan that is realistic in as much as it entails your dreams. It has to be very realistic. It has to be also very dynamic. I mean, not static. Like you can change things around when they're not working out. So you need to have a very solid business plan. The other thing is you must learn how to sell. You must know who is your client. You must know where they are from, where they are found. You must know what they like. You must know what messaging you can speak to them, you know, like the language, you know, you must understand who are your clients. For example, if you're selling women stuff, what colors are you choosing for the women? If you're dealing with male stuff, what are these things that male like? What are the colors that male speak to the male gender, you know? And then if you're in HR, what are these things that HR people are looking for? So you must learn how to sell. And by learning how to sell, you must know your customers, know what they want, and how to package that messaging so that then you're able to sell. And this is the part where you really, really need to learn how to do your pitch. Okay? Like we say, so long as you're in business, the next person you meet, even your neighbor that you have not met, may become your next client. So you need to actually learn how to pitch, even if you have like 30 seconds. So learning how to sell, I cannot emphasize on this enough. And then cash is king. You must separate your money. You must separate the company money. You must be able to have money to actually be able to move tomorrow. So cash is king in a startup and any business, actually. Your cash flow determines how you're going to run your business tomorrow. Because I was laughing with my friend the other day. I went and told him, hey, you know what? I actually have, this was like a month. I was like, imagine I actually have salaries for next month. And we were laughing. And then he goes like, okay, that's that you wanted to pay salaries with. And guess what? You remove that money, you invest there, and then it will come back. So cash is king. And sometimes because in startups, cash is not predictable per se. So you really need to know how to manage your money and manage it, balance between your personal needs and that of a business. I always advise my clients and the people who are in business, learn to give yourself a salary. Even from that business, learn to give yourself a salary, because at that point, then you'll start doing best practices when you're running your business. And then networking. If you don't network, you won't sell. I can tell you that for a fact. Nowadays, you must have somebody who speaks your name behind closed doors. You must have somebody who is mentioning you when you're not there. When they hear we are looking for this, they'll be the first people to say, please call Zula, please call Jane, please call this and that person. So network. And then collaboration. Now, and especially during last year and this time, I think the biggest lesson that us entrepreneurs we've learned is to leverage on collaboration. Sometimes you make more by joining hands. We are here today. I'm a HR consultant. Jen is a HR consultant, but we are collaborating in this because we can't like say we are fighting. We can't say that we are in competition and therefore we are enemies. No, we bring hands together and bring to you guys a beautiful thing. So collaboration is also a way to survive when you're starting out, even actually in any business. And then you need to measure your results and adapt. You need to always seek feedback. Ask people, have I served you right? What did you like to hear? Where are we? Listen to the needs. They will tell you, by the way. And for example, you ask me how we are able to choose topics that are relevant to people. We listen. We go to groups and we can pick what are the pain points. What would these people like to learn? And then keep records, and especially finances. I remember my friend who was closing shop after running his business for 5 years. And I was telling him, my friend, you need to have a record, an Excel sheet that you record all your expenses and all the money that's coming in, and not necessarily because you have your M-Pesa statements, but because you need to know even when you're paid in cash, where that money is going, because it actually helps you predict, or rather tell what you're going to do in the future. And then legislation. You need to understand what legislation governs your business. For example, I saw the other day, for the people who are running LPG gas, there was supposed to be an increment about, I think it was in the papers a Friday or 2 ago. These are legislations that are changing. For the people in HR, what is legislation that is governing your the industry that you're in? This business that you're running, what is the legislation that governs it? You need to be updated. You need to know, because those are the things that will help you structure your business to grow, to be able to grow. And then, lower your expenses. Learn to be frugal. Like my mentor always told me, you must be frugal. You must know what is very important. Learn to prioritize your expenses. Most of us who come from business, we want to go and open this beautiful posh office with the red carpet, the state-of-the-art furniture. You come to Panessa, you buy your furniture, and because you came out with your gratuity or service pay. So you're a millionaire now. You come, you buy Eunice will tell us how much that beautiful secretarial desk costs, and then you have pampered your office, and then shock on you. 3 months down the line, you only have one client who cannot even sustain your business. So please be mindful of your expenses. Then plow back. Learn to know that this money you're making is not yours. Some people, when you're in business, you get paid 1 million shillings and you want to take your whole family on holiday. That is the time you're changing kids' schools, you're doing what, and then 2 to 3 months down the line, you don't even have rent. Not even for your office, for your home. So learn to plow back. What is company money? Take it to the company. And then targeted marketing. Don't just market. Don't just say, I'm opening a Facebook page and that's it. I'm going to market. No, you must learn to do targeted market. You must learn where is your audience, what do they like, and what is this messaging that you're packaging for them. And then the other thing is ask for feedback. I think I've covered that. And then try and automate. Take advantage of Google Forms. Take advantage of Excel sheets, Microsoft, the basics. And if you can, get a system. Nowadays, we have systems that are available online that you can just pull and start using, or get customized kidogo. Try and automate, because it will help you. I know my cousin was telling me the other day, he has an app that helps you track your expenses. So nowadays, when he pays an M-Pesa, if he does an M-Pesa transaction, he actually copy pastes that transaction into the app. And then at the end of the day or the week, he's able to see how much he's been able to spend without really doing too much. So automate as much as you can. Offer more, okay, but don't charge less. I know most startups, saa zingine tunafinywa serious. You know, they bargain and bargain mpaka you're like, oh my God. And you know, even if it's 10K, you need it. So sometimes we actually take it, but sometimes learn how to negotiate and then be able to offer more. And sometimes it's how you sell that service that they are able to sell you more. I mean, to offer you actually what you're looking for. Again, be ready to offer free services. We say service before selling, and you need to take note of that. Service before selling. Be ready to offer free services. It also helps you survive into this entrepreneurship. And then consistency. Be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. I know sometimes it takes much more than the word consistency. I know sometimes you don't even want to wake up and face your business again, but you need to be consistent. You need to be able to call yourself committing no GMBA. I started this for a reason, and I have to be consistent, and you have to keep doing it. And with consistency, even your quality, the quality of what you're offering has to be consistent as well. And then have a backup plan. So for example, if you've taken all your money invested in the business, please note that you're still living. You need to pay your rent. You need to go to work. You need money to invest into the business. For example, if you're doing a project and you need to spend money before you actually paid. So always have a backup plan, and then seek mentorship and coaching. Speak to professionals, speak to people who are there before you. And that is part of why we actually bring to you entrepreneurs on these sessions, because we want you to get coached, we want to get mentors, we want you to learn from the people who are there before us. By the way, that's also a tactic that helps. Learn from other people's mistakes. And then allow me to just rush through here. You as an individual, you need to take care of yourself. And I thought this was very important, because you are the VIP in your life. And unless you're taking care of yourself, then you're not going to be able to succeed. And remember, a startup actually relies on you 95% of the time. So build your confidence, know that you can, always believe that you can. Even when sometimes you're asked whether you are able to do some things that you're not too sure about, please note, you need to build your confidence. The other thing you need to do is do what you love and love what you do. Enjoy the journey. It's tough sometimes. There are good days, then there will be bad days. Learn and enjoy. And then set boundaries. Know to what extent you can go with what. I remember somebody was saying, and allow me to use this example, for women, don't you get people who are hitting on you and they're saying, we call them what? Sexually transmitted tenders. So you need to set your boundaries. You need to know to what extent can you push it. And for the person who wants to, who is asked to get involved in corruption, to what extent are you willing to do this? Because these are personal decisions that you get to make in entrepreneurship. And we always say there's a line you do not cross. So you need to define that line for yourself. Please catch enough sleep. Try and sleep as much, as often as you can. You need it. Again, rest and allow time to reflect. My friends know my Sundays are not touched. It takes a lot for me to actually accept to do something on Sunday besides be with my family and go to church. Other than that, I'm resting. And it's the time you take to reflect. You know, sometimes even during the week, just sit around in the evening or in early morning, reflect, strategize, rethink, you know, and then eat healthy and try and get time to exercise. I was telling my friend the other day, nowadays, I don't exercise to lose weight. I exercise to stay sane. And you can do that as often as you're able to. Thrice a week, 4 times a week is good for your health as well. And then take care of your mental health. We suffer anxiety, the uncertainty in a startup, in running a business. Because remember, maybe you are transitioning from employment, you had a steady income, and here you are not getting the money you are getting. You're being paid 250,000 take home, and over here you're making 50,000 a month. So you need to take care of your mental health. You need to know what is good for you and what is not good for you. And then you must be able to manage your time. Guy, this one is a challenge, because you have clients maybe who are lined up. You have proposals. By there, sometimes we can write proposals, let me tell you. You can do 5 proposals and none will come through. But remember, you must do these proposals because they are necessary. They are very, very important. Okay? And then have an attitude of gratitude. You may not be where you are, but you're certainly not where you started. So learn to be grateful, and then have a support system. Personally, I have a friend who I talk to every day. We talk in the morning and in the evening. So long as any one of us is in traffic, you will find our phones ringing, because that's how we actually deal. I also have a mentor that I work with. I also have a Jane, who is also a friend of mine. We call have a good bra, a support system. And I have the people at home who actually help you stay sane. My sisters have a good support system. And then small businesses is not for the faint-hearted, but it is for the brave, the patient, and the persistent. It is for the overcomer. So if you think you belong here, but I believe all of us are, we can all be business people. We can all be employed. Whichever rocks your boat is a choice you get to make. So why should you continue with this journey? Some key facts from Kenya Bureau of Standards. They say that 90% of businesses in Kenya we have 7.41 million enterprises in Kenya. They employ 84% of the total workforce. That is 14.9 million people are employed by MSMEs. So don't be afraid. Don't wonder why you started this. You actually are creating employment for people. And because you're going to share these slides, you're going to see the more facts. And then you must see the big picture, okay? You must know why you started. You're making a difference. You are about to build something that is so bigger than yourself. So look at the bigger picture and remember why you went into entrepreneurship in the first place. And then just believe you're an evolving masterpiece. You may not be who you are right now, but I'm sure, trust the process. You get better. You get better at it. Even if you didn't know how to sell. I was telling sometime when I was in HR, we were trying the building entrepreneurship in the workplaces. And I remember telling my boss, how do I sell? I cannot sell. I'm HR. I don't know how to sell. But here I am. I sell nowadays, I sell. And I kept wondering, why do marketers make very good CEOs compared to other professionals? And it's because of their ability to actually sell. So you are an evolving masterpiece. You may not be what you thought you were, but because you keep growing, I can tell you, the priorities that you had 5 years ago have changed now. So you are an evolving masterpiece. Trust the process. And then you feed more than just your wallet when you're in business. I remember there's a client of mine who used to tell me, Grace, I can close shop. I can close shop. My family and I will be fine. But if I have 100 employees, and I believe him, because even I don't work for myself anymore. I have families who wait upon Grace to be able to go out there and bring business for them to be able to eat. So you feed more than just your wallet. And that is the reason you need to keep up with this entrepreneurship. And then you learn. Oh my God, you learn. You learn so much when you're in the entrepreneurship. All those issues, all those struggles, they polish you up. And then you grow your networks. I'm telling you, the people I can call for favors right now, and the people I could call for favors when I was in employment are totally different. By the way, just to let you know, I ran 2 startups. And so far, so good. I'm really learning as we go along, and I'm acing it. I can say that. And then it is rewarding and fulfilling. Sometimes you sit at the end of the day and remember, oh my God, I did that. I was able to achieve that. So yes. Jane? Jane?
Yes, Grace. Yes, Grace. So well
Yeah.
done. You have learned so much. I hope everybody who is logging has learned as much as I have. I would summarize so much of what I've taken from you, even though I'm in business. One of them, there's no option but to be a marketer. You cannot do business if you're not able to sell your own products. So don't say you're starting a business if you think you can't. And number two, learn how to negotiate. Don't be the one who's always giving things like you're giving for free because you feel you need that 10,000, you need that particular 5,000. Learn to negotiate. So much takeaway, Grace. Another takeaway from you is don't do it. Don't quit. Just do it. Just keep thinking that actually what you're doing is feeding more than just family. It is not just feeding your wallet. It is taking care of many other people. And the beauty of also it's about the networks that you create as you do entrepreneurship. There is so much that SMEs do to create the business, to create the economy, and we should not fear getting into business. So, Grace, we have so many questions from the participants, and maybe I should start with the first one here, which is from Purity Kananu, and she says, for startups, many prospects will ask, where else are you offering the service? Very challenging. How do you navigate this?
Where else are you offering the service?
Yeah, because you're starting.
Sometimes you just say, okay, this is why we are saying sometimes be ready to offer free service because it also helps you build your portfolio. However, you can leverage on things that you used to do. If, for example, you are employed and they ask you, where else are you offering that service? You give those services to your employer, you know. So you word it in a way that does not show that you're doubting yourself, you know. Have confidence in selling your skill that you have gained, whether offering the service as an entrepreneur or as an employee.
Maybe I could just top up to what Grace is saying on that particular one. It's very important to know that branding and feasibility is very important. And even when you're employed, nothing stops you from building your brand if you know you're going to come to entrepreneurship. So always know that if people have to buy from you when you have never done this, it starts with you giving them a sample of what you're doing, regardless of what you're doing. And just say about the free thing, sometimes even do an hour or even just a sample of what you do for free for guys to experience what is it that you're claiming to be. And sometimes you also take very low cost prices or rather, just to have people get to be able to now watch and see that this particular person is our client, this particular person is our client. So when you're starting, it may not always be about the profits, but building and creating visibility for your brand. Right. And Grace, we have another question here from Joseph Wanyeki, and he says, how can one balance being an employee and carrying out a business?
Oh, that's a tough one because of time. What you need to understand is you have 24 hours in your day. If you work for 8 hours, please note if you're employed from 8 to 5, for example, that's 8 hours. You spend an hour going to work, so that's hour 9, and then another hour going home, that's hour 10. So out of 24 hours, 10 are out. You need to figure out what to do with the other 14, because that's where your side hustle will come through. The other thing is you need to leverage on your support system. So if you have a wife, make sure they go to check on the business. If you have somebody you can trust, make sure that they are supporting you on the days that you're not able to actually visit the business. So it's more about time management as you transition. And at some point, let me just tell you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. You'll have to choose one eventually. Yeah.
And maybe just to add to what Grace is saying, most of the time from a HR perspective, we have had to fire people because you start a business and you completely neglect your work. So very, very important to know how to balance the two, as much as Joseph is asking how to balance the two. And one of them is if you have a team that you're managing, start learning to delegate as early as now. Start knowing how to spare your time as early as now, so that time, because most people go to business when maybe they have worked for some years, you already have a team that you can delegate and you're able to do things. And then also learn that you can actually delegate other people outside to also be able to do. So invest in control systems, then you don't have to have people bringing meat to Grace's butchery, because if you're working, it means you can actually have a CCTV, you're seeing what is happening. So think control, think systems, and see how do I now navigate and how do I balance between those two, and be deliberate about it. Otherwise, you might lose both. You might lose both, and that would be sad. And Grace, we have another question here from Nika Cindy, which says, if thinking of moving into entrepreneurship full-time, post-employment, what level of readiness is required to ensure survival beyond the first 12 months?
You need to figure out how your family, your normal expenses will be taken care of. You also need to be sure, okay, this is what happens when you're leaving from your normal job. You need to have a meeting with your family and explain to them that life may not be as it used to be. Because remember, we talked about lowering your cost. The other thing you need to do is make sure that your savings are able to sustain you for a specific period of time. Based on your business plan, at what point do you think you're going to start reaping some fruits from your labor? And probably normally within a year of business, you should be able to start getting something. So if you have savings that can take you that long, and then how is your product and the market that you're placing it to? Because there's some things that you actually place into the market, and within 3 months, it's takeoff. So even the choice of business determines how ready you are to get into the market. That means you need to do your research in terms of the product and the market availability and timing as well. You need to make sure that the timing of your launch is actually the right time in terms of the market readiness. So yeah.
Thank you for that, Chris. And I'll just also add just something little. If you're working, it's important to actually start that business when you're still employed. If you want to quit in the next 12 months, don't be rigid about that particular plan. Actually, write it with a pencil, because you can always rub it and extend for 2 years. So be able to start when you're still working, and be able to see how much are you getting from it, and just tell yourself, if I quit today, how much will I be making? If I don't make as much as I'm making from my salary, how do I cater for ABCD? So if you start before you lose your job or before something else happens, then it's always there, because it's something that you have tested. It doesn't have to always be the case, but it's a safe way to actually start doing that business. And you don't have to fear, because if it doesn't function, you still have your credentials. You could still go back to employment. So don't fear starting. Actually, entrepreneurship is about failing. You start this, it fails sometimes, and you start again and again and again. So don't be scared of actually getting that. So we have someone who is raising their hand. I'll give them a chance to ask whatever they want to ask, and then I'll give Grace more questions. So Henry Mwangi, just unmute yourself and be able to ask the question.
You may not be.
Henry Mwangi. Is he unmuted, Grace, or should I give you the next question?
We have given him permission to talk, but he's not talking. So,
Henry Mwangi, you want to proceed? Okay, super. So maybe it was my mistake. So the next question, Grace, is from Inonda John, and he says a very interesting topic. Been having ideas to start few things, but I'm always scared. Do we have people or institutions who can listen to good ideas and help nurture or provide real funding if they're realistic?
In terms of funding, yes. But I'm wondering whether your fear is on funding or it's on fear of fear. You know, we have fear of starting a business, and then we have fear of where are we getting the capital from. Those are two different things. If it's fear of you being afraid you might fail, you being afraid that the business may not take off, it's entrepreneurship, it's risk taking. You have to take a risk. You cannot know until you try. So what you need to do is actually prepare adequately to start. Okay, so you have to take that risk. You have to go out there and give it a shot. And in terms of funding, yes, we have institutions that support funding, but it really depends on the viability of your business, because investors will come to you if they think that they'll get something. You remember when we had the Lion's Den, we had people go there, they pitch for their businesses, and then we have people saying yes or no, they'll give you money or they won't give you money. So I think if you look around, you can get investors who are willing to jump into and fund your business. But if it's the other confidence, you have to build the confidence, learn actually. By the way, I forgot to say, if you're transitioning into employment, you need to study. You know, if you want to go into training, go and do TOT. If you want to do, what else? If you want to become an HR consultant, do something that helps you. If you want to be a coach, go and get certified as a coach. I had forgotten to mention that about being ready. And allow me to just add, this session is brought to you by Balcon Housing, Stallion Construction Company, and Intercity Secure Homes. Over to you, Jade.
Maybe just to add again on the person that is scared to start, you can actually get a business coach to just take you through the process of how to start, and you can also start small. Then you don't have to feel like you're losing so much on your own. And in terms of investors investing in an idea that is just an idea, you can always try. You can always try. Nothing is stopping you. But if you don't face your fears, then you go to the grave with your idea. You go to the grave with your dream. So let us not make the grave the richest place with ideas. Just take the shot, try it, and get to see what happens. Like I said, you can always go back to employment if it doesn't work. We have more time, Grace, or should we start winding up? We still have like 4 or 5 questions.
Yeah, we can take. It's 9:06. We can get to 9:10.
Okay, so we have a question from Beautiful Ryoki, and she says, I registered a fast food sole proprietorship in 2019. I have never started operating due to lack of capital. Should I pay any tax or file return to carry?
No, you have to file new returns, and especially if it was a limited company. Please listen to the webinar we had last week on Tuesday. She really elaborately talked about VAT and the other returns that you're supposed to file. But yes, especially if it's for a limited company, please file your nil returns.
Very important to comply with KRA, because if you don't, then you may never do business anywhere. Because any place that you have to do business, proper organization will always ask you for a tax compliance certificate, and therefore it's one of the things that you can't afford to not to have. If you're not an accountant and you're running a business, always engage an accountant. The outsourced one, it doesn't have to be on a full-time. Like the one I have, I pay as little as 5K per month, and what they do is ensure that I remain compliant with KRA. Because you can't do any business without a tax compliance. So don't just depend on your knowledge. Know your weaknesses. If one of them is accounting and KRA matters, make sure you engage someone who's able to help you with tax management issues. And we have another question here from Peter Kananu, says, too much legislation hurting startups due to cost. How have you navigated this?
By starting small. You bite one bullet at a time. You take it gradually. So if it's registration, for example, when we started the Atara Solutions, we were not really registered with NITA, we were not registered with IHRM, but I personally was registered, which allowed me to practice. However, over time now, you start getting compliant with the other legal requirements of the business. So you go progressively. Don't take it all at once. You know, sometimes when you, for example, registering with IHRM is 12,000, registering with NITA is 12,000. This is 24K. And then 24K probably is what you need to actually invest in something else. So take it by stride, you know, start with probably IHRM if that is what you think is, is urgent, then go with NITA and then build it as you go along. Yeah, that would be my answer to that. And I've seen somebody asking about a business coach. This is a personal preference. I work with Wild International. You've met them here before. Joram Minamo and Chris are my business coaches, but we can always look for more to assist you. So if you're looking for a business coach, you can get in touch with me and I'll be able to give you more referrals.
Thank you, Grace, for that. And on the one for registration, again, it's important to do these things when you're still employed. Don't do them when you're not working. Have your website running when you're still employed, because you still have the salary money is not an issue. You know, have those registrations, all of them if you can, when you're still employed, so that when you're starting the business, then everything is running. And it's always important to have that at the side. Some of us study as side hustles, but they become main hustles. So very important to always start when money is not an issue. Because when money is an issue, then becomes a problem. But if you can't register, again, remember Grace talked about partnerships. You don't have to do this alone. If you want to work with maybe me and I already have all the registration, approach this particular person, tell them, can I work for you? Can I work under you? So you work for them as a consultant, be able to get more money and do the registration that you need to do. So there's always a way out. So always ask yourself for what is the way out here and go for that particular option. Any other questions? Any other questions? Let me just say, the other one is someone asking for us to share the report from Joram on entrepreneurship and marriage, the impact of that to business, so that will be shared. And I think that is the end of our session today, unless if you have more questions. And before we finish, we have to say huge thank you to our sponsors, Balcon Consulting, Intercities. What is that, Grace?
Intercity Secure Homes.
For all your CCTV needs, security guards, and anything to do with security. They're calling it intelligence security. And we have one more, Grace, one of our more sponsors. So we have 3 sponsors. The other one is
Stallion. We have Stallion Construction Company.
Thank you to them for this particular wonderful session. I am sure this is very, very helpful to all of us, including me who has been in business for a few years now, but I've still been able to benefit. And we have a gift for our participants, because they've always come for this. And this is going to one of us. I don't know if they're in session today or not. And Grace, I would like you to present that to Jay. JCVs, Jay, are you here? We have something for you.
I think I saw him. I saw him. So yes, we are celebrating 1 year of the webinar series, and we have a lot in store for you. We have partnership with Kapula Mintito, who we have partnered with for the last season 2. So today we are giving their giveaway to Jairus Walemba. The reason why Jairus is actually the winner of this gift hamper is because he's commented like 3 times on our YouTube channel in the recent fast. He also is a subscriber, so and he gets a chance to walk away with a gift hamper from Kapula Mintito. Oh my God, you should see them. She sent me a video early today. I should share it with you, and you see what you've won. So for all your support, we really appreciate. We have a lot in store for you. By the way, we have a cake from Flavored Cakes, who are giving one of you a cake in celebration of Get It Right with the Tara Solutions 1 year anniversary. We also have JC Beauty, who are giving us a gift hamper to all of you. One of you will get a chance to walk away with that in celebration of our 1 year. We also have GeoTrace. GeoTrace actually will install a car alarm system to you and a car tracker for somebody else for free, just by tuning in to Get It Right with the Tara Solutions, or just commenting on our YouTube channel, or just by following us. It's that simple. So yes, you get a chance to win just for being with us and for your support.
And thank you so much, Grace. And to be able to win all that, you can follow us on our social media handles, which is Atara Solutions for Facebook, Atara Solutions for YouTube, Atara Solutions for Instagram page. Just Google that, follow us, and be able to like us, and just follow the. If you have missed any of the previous sessions, you'll find all that there, including the session with the other entrepreneurs, coaches, and even the report that Grace is talking about. So yeah, be able to just go for the next person that you're saying to win. So thank you very much to the sponsors of this. Thank you very much, Grace. It has been an awesome evening. I've learned so much, and I want to believe everybody has learned as much. And therefore, also take this chance to wish everybody a good night and say this marks the end of our session today. We see you next Tuesday. I am very sure Getting It Right with Atara Solutions will be presenting something as juicy as today. Thank you, and goodbye, everybody. Joyce,
thank you,
Grace, maybe you could say something to them as we close.
No, thank you guys for tuning in and for all your support. And we promise to keep it lit, Get It Right with the Tara Solutions every Tuesday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. In the month of July, we are going to focus on personality. We are going to focus on changing your mindset. We are also going to host an entrepreneur. We haven't hosted, oh yeah, you have hosted me. I'm the entrepreneur of the month. Oh my God. So we focus on bringing you at least an entrepreneur every month. And we are still going to do that in July. We are also going to look at personalities and how they affect you as an entrepreneur and as an employee. What does your personality say about you? That is what we are looking to have this July, because July starts next week. So yes, and thank you very much. And thank you, Nyawera. There's somebody who was asking about starting a business in upcountry and not in Kenya. I mean, in Nairobi, somebody was in Nairobi and starting a business in upcountry, and I think we were able to answer that during the session when we were talking about having a business while you're still employed. Yeah, all right. So thank you very much, Jen, for being a wonderful host. We should do this more often.
Sure, Grace.
Right.
It was so much fun just sitting here and listening to you saying so many things that I wish someone told me before I went into business. So Thank you so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you have any question for Grace,
Karibu
you can
sana.
unmute
Thank
and
you.
just get to ask Grace as we wait to for guys to exit. We still have two participants with hands raised. I don't know if it's Henry and Agnes Lee. We have Winnie Ocheng. Winnie, you have a burning question? Grace, maybe you can unmute Winnie. Looks like she's unmuted. Winnie, please go ahead. She's muted. We have Priscilla. They are both muted. You have muted both.
Hi, Jen.
Yes, Winnie.
No, I have allowed. Yeah, there she goes.
How are you?
Very fine, Winnie.
Hi, Jen.
Very fine, Winnie. Please go ahead.
Oh, I have no question, but I'm so grateful to be part of this. The session have been so much informative. Have learned quite a lot in regards to entrepreneurship, and I'm looking forward to the next session, which will be coming in July.
Thank you.
Next Tuesday, stay tuned, and remember to just go to our social media handles. It is Atara Solutions for Instagram, for YouTube, and also for Facebook. Thank you so much, Winnie. Priscilla? Priscilla? We also have Eunice Mutiso with her hand up. Maybe you could unmute her.
I have.
Eunice, please go ahead.
Hi, ladies.
Yes. Hi, Eunice.
Thank you so much for such an informative session today. I'm looking forward for another session like this to learn more about business. Jen keeps on telling me that, hey, Eunice, I wonder how you're worried when I say, you have to leave something else for business. But yes, now I see, I can jump out right now for business. So thank you so much for such an, informative session.
Thank you, Eunice. Jen, I've seen a question from Abdi Salim, who is saying, how do you price in consultancy? Or have I seen my own?
Yeah. It's how do you price a service such as consultancy assignment or recruitment?
I would advise that you look at the market rates. A lot of people charge 1 month salary for the recruit. Others charge 75% depending on position. You can just look at the market rates and actually price that. Yeah.
Maybe just to add on that, if you're going to business, regardless, if you're not the only one in the market, always do a competitor analysis. And I'll tell you something that you should not say I told you. Always call them and pose like a customer. Ask them how much you're charging for ABCD and get to know how much your competitors are actually charging for the same service, and then see how not to compete, knowing that you're starting. So if they're charging a month's salary for recruitment and you're starting, then you might maybe want to give a little bit lower for the purpose of your entry. So I hope that is helpful, Abdi Salam.
I hope so.
I'm laughing at friend Ingut, you're saying, when is Jane been on the other end too? Amazing.
We are a power pack, Fred.
Yes. Thank you, Fred, for that.
Yes. Oh. Okay.
Wow. Someone is asking, there are so many questions that I didn't see. One is asking, when is the right time to transition from side hustle to full-time complete concentration?
When the side hustle requires you more than the business, I would say. And also when the money you're earning on the side hustle is looking like, or is it the market looks like it has accepted you or something like that.
Actually, you just feel.
Yeah. You'll know. Yeah.
But if you don't focus at that, you may never transition. There are people who run side hustles for years until they retire. So if that's not what you're focusing at, if your idea is not that compelling to you, then you may never be able to actually be able to just call it quits. I remember for me, I worked my resignation letter for 2 years. I kept saying, today, this month, this is my last month. And I would be put buried by people that I'm telling. And the day I quit, I didn't tell anybody. They just realized for the last 2 months I had not worked or I was not going to the office. So you also have to know that most people in Kenya, maybe your friends because you're already employed, may not be that receptive to you leaving employment, because I think we have something that we have by getting the big titles, the big offices, and all that comes with being employed. So sometimes you also have to know who to keep company with, who to share your dreams with, if you need to be encouraged to step out. If you keep sharing that with someone who is scared about entrepreneurship, they'll just be adding to your fears and you may never quit. So I hope that answers Nicholas Musioka.
Yeah. Oh, Moses Ombok, thank you for coming. I've seen you. Thank you. Moses Ombok was a very good coach of mine when I was starting out in HR. With dealing with unions.
Union matters, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think that's it. We can only say thank you very much, because like I've said, Grace, what are the competitive customer retention strategies?
What are the competitive customer retention strategies?
Yeah, that is from Evangeline Atinda.
Quality is number one. You must make sure that they value the quality of service that you give them. Actually, if you give them quality of service, even if they don't like you, they'll keep up with you on retention. And then consistency as well. Also being present, availability, being reliable. Yeah. They must be able to know that when they call you, you'll answer.
And customer service.
Yes.
You must operate like you're a giant, like a big business. Don't just go assuming because you're an SME, people can get away with you giving them all sorts of excuses. I wasn't able to do this because my baby was ABCD. I wasn't able to do this because of this. My employee quit. Manage your domestics, back office, and deliver like you're a giant. And people will keep coming to you.
Right.
Then we have another one here saying, hello, starting a furniture business, and I need the guidance from the coaches. That's from Asha Hassan.
Oh, I am in furniture business. Come to Panessa. I am there on Mondays and Wednesdays. We can have a conversation. I run a carpentry school, so I'll teach you how to become a carpenter first, and then you can open one.
And we have Moses Ombok, hands
raising his hand.
Yeah.
There you go, Moses.
Sorry, ladies, for interrupting you. I was meant to say this at the right time, that you have done a wonderful work, and keep it up. I'll personally follow you up so that you give me the tips on how to start and manage my own business. Thank you so much.
All right. Karibu sana. Thank you, Moses, for making the time.
Sure. And then we have another one here, which says, how do you deal with customer complaints and delayed responses due to accumulated work and can only respond maybe in the evenings?
I think that is, first of all, telling you that you need to start delegating. It's time to get an employee. I think you are right for that, because you can't do everything yourself. Even if it's somebody you will outsource. Nowadays we have the gig economy. We have people who are, for example, an admin somewhere else who has free time a lot, and they're able to respond to your emails at a fee of 5,000-10,000 or something like that. They can even take 200 per email they send or something like that. I think it's time to delegate, because if you're not available for your clients, my friend, they'll start thinking you're not reliable. And that means you're opening chances for competition. So retention becomes a problem. So, yeah.
And maybe just to add on what Grace is saying, if you're employed, it's also good to be truthful to your customers. Let them know you're working elsewhere, and this is your side hustle, if that will help. And then they'll know that I put time on this particular time and this time, then they'll be able to understand you. Otherwise, if you keep making them believe that that's your full-time gig and you're not giving them time, then they'll start the customer complaints.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have another question here from Anne Bahati that says, there's this category of people with, I don't think I'm meant for business mentality. What do you have to say to them?
What are you meant for? I would go back to trying to understand what is it that they are so afraid of that makes them think that they are not. Because I believe sometimes it's lack of confidence, sometimes it's maybe being unable to deal with the issues that are coming up, being unable to deal with the complaints, being unable to deal with the clients or the unavailability of funds. I really would want to know what exactly is the reason they think that, what has really affected their confidence in terms of running a business. Because I think everybody can be a business person. It just depends on what business you want to get into and the structures that you put in place. Yeah.
Sure. it's just a belief. It's about them questioning that what is informing this belief.
Yeah.
What makes them that they are not meant for business?
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. And then really, what would they do different to ensure that they don't think so? Have they tried? If they have failed, have they talked to other people who are in business and known how many times they have had to fail and just keep on trying and maybe succeeded?
Yes.
And then we have Boniface Ayumba saying, is agriculture a big thing to venture into, or should I go to stock exchange first?
Now, those are two different areas of specialization. Why are you considering agriculture and why are you considering stocks? Because you can do stock to be able to get revenue so that you can be able to invest in your business for capital. Or you can go into agriculture depending on what you're farming and whether the market is ready for that. So at the end of the day, it's about what you're looking at. You go into stock, fine, if you have the time, if you have the energy to wait, because going into stock means that you're collecting funds to be able to invest in the other one. So yeah, I think, Jane, it's 9:26 now. We need to end.
Okay.
They won't stop. So yeah, for any further questions, you can email me. We can always get in touch. Right.
Super duper. So bye-bye, Grace, and thank you very much. You can end the meeting for everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye, Eunice.
Bye.